sure. I will take notes so that we get this at least online. And the first thing I want to do is I sent around the minutes from our last meeting on June the 10th. Does anybody have any additions or corrections or any edits that we should make?
I wasn't there, so.
Yeah.
I have one edit. It's on line 5th paragraph, and you wrote Dearth Day instead of Earth Day.
Oh, yeah. It's not Dearth Day, it's Earth Day. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any others? Corrections? July 7th was the correct date when I did the minutes, but I couldn't do the 7th as it turned out, so I moved it to this date. Any other comments? Otherwise, will somebody make a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve. Marianne Weatherall makes a motion to approve
Okay, thank you.
from June 10th.
Moves to approve. Okay, second? Any other discussion at all?
Can I second if I wasn't there? I can't, right?
Sure.
Okay, I second it.
Okay.
You're laughing.
Any other comments? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No opposed, okay. So it's 3-0. Deidre, you have to be recused because you weren't there.
Okay.
All right. Moving right along, the grant subcommittee. We put off the Holly Hill Farm letter of recommendation because the Holly Hill Farm doesn't know what, you know, they elected not to do not even to file. I don't know whether they're going to do it next year or not, but we'll wait for them to do whatever they're going to do, and then we'll catch up with whatever they
Yeah.
do.
We have a lot going on right now, so I don't think they're in any shape to.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of where I thought we were. Anything else going on in the grant area?
I have to say, I haven't done anything with COVID. It's been apocalyptic over here.
Well, living with small children and this time of life is tough. Anyway, keep doing the good job. Hang in there.
Doing our best.
Difficult times.
Yeah, it's tough times. Okay, the Tom, bylaw subcommittee.
Yo. Nothing to report. I mean, now that I'm on the planning board, I'm going to push these issues, so.
By the way, I did, right after you emailed me and told me that you had won, I did send Carol an email.
I just saw that, and I had emailed Chris about it today too, so.
Yeah, and I had asked her to, you know, clarify it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she, but she never, you know, she got back to me on something else.
So if it's okay with this committee, what I was gonna do is resign my citizen seat that I have now.
At large.
Become the planning board's designated representative on this board since they.
Yeah, but it's not up to us.
No, I
okay?
know,
It's up to the planning board to
yeah, well,
recommend you.
tomorrow night, we're gonna deal with that on the planning board.
All right, so have, what's it, Amy is the chair? Is that her name?
Amy's the new chair and I'm the vice chair.
Oh, that's
Really?
wonderful. What a combination.
As
Very good.
you just got elected and you're the vice chair?
That's a wonderful-
lots of inside baseball, but we were determined to make sure the chair rotated for the first time in God knows how many years.
Very good.
Yes,
Good.
That's huge.
that's huge.
That's huge. That's great.
Yeah, it was actually done without a fight, so.
How long was the previous chair in that role for? Maybe 10 years?
No, 5 years,
I don't know.
Hmm,
maybe 8 years, something like that.
8, 9.
All I know is the planning board has 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They had two that served a long time.
So your job is to get a recommendation from the planning board, and then that
Yeah,
has to
I'm gonna
go
do
to the
that tomorrow.
Board of Selectmen, and the Board of Selectmen are the appointing board, okay? And you don't need to, formally resign. We'll just inform Carol that
Yeah,
you've
Right.
taken the planning board seat, and the seat that's open is an at-large seat. And by the way,
and then let,
I didn't get that.
well, last night I was at the master plan implementation committee
Yeah.
meeting. And I am this board's representative to
Right.
that, and I'd like to stay in that.
Yeah, that doesn't change.
Okay,
What I started to say, what I did send Carol an email 2 weeks ago, asking her to clarify the position, whether you could be on both boards. I'm sure you can. Matter of fact, I know you can because I talked to Chris Senior about it, and he said, yeah, no problem. You just have to, but from Carol, I wanted to find out if you had to file any release or anything as a conflict of interest to be on both boards. That's what I was
well,
trying to figure out.
it'll just become simpler that I'm the planning board's representative.
Yeah.
There's nobody on there who has any interest.
No, I know.
We're gonna
that's why-
talk about
That's
liaisons.
why we haven't had a planning board representative.
Yeah.
While we're talking about personnel, Abigail Albies is no longer on the Recreation Commission, so she's no longer the representative to our committee. I'll talk to Jack Di Lorenzo, who's the chair of the Recreation Commission, and ask him to appoint somebody with the same process. He has to recommend an appointment, the Board of Selectmen then makes the appointment. So I'll talk to Jack to see if we can get somebody there. I also need to talk to Jeff Wall because the land trust, the Cohasset Land Trust, Katie's crowd, we should have a representative from them on our committee as well. So I'll talk to Jeff Wall as well. And we have Justin Mosca's position, her seat open as well. So we have we've got at least 3 openings on the board. And one of the things I was going to ask the committee, does somebody on the committee knows Sarah Burgess?
Yes,
Who was that?
me.
Mary Ann. You know Sarah?
I think we both do.
Okay. Could you folks talk with her and see if she's interested in being a member of the board, being a committee member?
I think she was concerned because she's not a US citizen. She's British and she doesn't have anything on her green card.
She
but
doesn't have to be a registered voter.
She doesn't.
She just needs to be a resident of Cohasset, I
Okay,
believe.
but she is.
Okay, so she's a resident. I don't think she needs to be a registered voter.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'll have to check with Carol, all right?
Maybe check with her first before we approach her.
Yeah. Let me check with Carol first. And I'll just send Mary Ann, you and Deidre, an email with Carol's response. And if you only need to be a resident, then I'll ask you to you guys talk and figure out who can contact her, or you can just give her my information and give me her information and I'll contact her. But it's nicer if somebody on the
Yeah,
committee who knows
I
her
know.
talks to her.
She lives in your neighborhood. It's fine, whoever, I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, she's an environmentalist. I mean, she's done, you know, she's done a great job with the One Bag
Yeah.
program.
Phenomenal.
And she'd be a great addition
Yeah.
to what we're trying to get done. So, okay.
Yes. Mhm.
So I've got a little work to do. Tom will be the planning board because that'll be a rubber stamp. They'll just, you know, they'll put him in as the planning board. I'll get to Jack DiLorenzo and get a recreation representative, and I'll talk to Jeff Wall. I think he's still the chair of the Cohasset Land Trust, but I'm not sure. Tom, do you know if he's still?
He's muted again.
Oh,
I think he is. I hate this. Don't laugh, Marianne.
Don't piss him off. Come on.
oh, it's so fun. No.
I know it's so fun. That's why.
I gotta do this later tonight too. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll figure out Jeff Wall. And we'll try to get some more, we'll try to get some people restocked onto the committee. Moving right along, the Harbor Committee, the planning for the Harbor Committee, or the Harbor Committee plan has been passed. It is functional, it is live now. Tom, you must have some information on that as the master plan, because did they wrap the harbor plan into that?
I mean, the master plan wraps in both ours and theirs, but
Yeah.
nobody has mentioned,
Yeah.
and Tim Davis is a member of the master plan implementation.
Yeah, okay,
committee.
well, the fact is that it is approved and activity will begin to,
Have
you know,
you read it?
parent, you know, they're doing the boat ramp at Parker Ave. That's,
Let me ask you this question. Do they want larger boats in the harbor?
I have no idea.
It's just a nasty little rumor, I've heard. That's all.
They want more boats in the harbor?
Larger boats.
I would say, I wouldn't want larger boats in the harbor. I mean, it's pretty tight as it is.
They just dredge it too.
And, well, no, there's a waiting.
Well, anyway, I'll find that out. Tim Davis wants to.
Wait. There's a huge waiting list, and
I know that.
I used to charter large boats, and the swing room for a large boat is substantial. So, you know, if you're going to put large boats, you're going to have fewer boats in the harbor, and there's a waiting list that
Right
stretches.
along.
Let me just say that for me getting elected to the planning board and that question I just asked, there's lots of rumors that come flowing through my head in the last 3 weeks. So
Right.
I'm just asking questions to confirm or deny all these rumors that I hear. So
I hadn't heard that.
Contrary to popular opinion, I do have an opinion.
The Harbor Committee planning plan has not come through the Conservation Commission, so we have not looked at it or analyzed it. We haven't seen
Really?
it yet.
and we haven't discussed it on the master plan implementation committee
Mhm.
in any
Maybe it's
level of detail.
Maybe it's been approved by the Harbor Planning Group. Maybe that was the message, but it's passed its initial approval. So if it hasn't gone to conservation, I'm surprised, I guess.
It has not. We're concerned about height issues and where the mitigation of water will go.
You ought to have your committee drop Mr. Davis an invitation to come and talk to your committee, is how I would do it.
That's a good question.
I'm only in charge of this committee. I'll try not to dictate.
And
No,
without-
I like, that's a good idea. I mean, but we have heard rumors, but we have not seen.
I'd get the Corpus Christi right in front of you there.
Mhm.
Get the body in front of you to explain what they're doing. He likes to talk about it, so get him there.
Without prejudicing Concom's own permitting process, if you have any comments to deliver to the planning board,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
if you have any comments to deliver to the planning board, because we started the hearing last week, I realize you got to issue a permit too, and you don't want to prejudice your position, but if there's anything generic you want to say or something you want to raise to us, to our attention, you should.
Has it come before you? Has it
Yeah,
started?
it started last week, taking a break from it tomorrow, and the next hearing, I think, is August 9th.
I'd be curious to say what he has said
And we're breaking,
about coming.
well, yeah, and by the way, Chris McFarland wrote some very detailed comments that he submitted to the board before the hearing. And, I, for one, picked up on them. I think he had a lot of really, really good points because he's looked at it very, very carefully. And the way they've done a lot of their drawings kind of misleads you as to how tall and massive those buildings really are.
Yes, that's what I think is misleading, the height. I think most people think it's going to be
Yeah, it's going to surpass the planning,
very large.
It's
The
by,
charge.
by a good
zoning.
amount. Yeah, by a
because
good
they're going to add in the extra leverage that they need to be above the floodplain.
Right. It's going to start much higher. I think the average height it's just going to be an average. It's not going to be the height, the tallest height of that structure because they're.
No, it's because of our stupid convoluted definition of height in bylaw. It's going to be at the midpoint of a pitched roof, of the pitched roof. So it's going to be, there's a substantial amount of structure above 35 feet, and then using the floodplain line, you're adding another 8 to 10 feet over what's there today. So,
Right.
you'll see, because of the Zoom format, I've already written out, comments on the initial presentation and the initial materials. I'm going to put them out online and make them, a written record because this Zoom format is not conducive to long diatribes and comments and questions about these.
Mhm.
So you'll see that I raise a lot of it. I mean, height has been my concern there since Peter Roy first wanted to take what was the new village zoning, and he wanted to move it to the harbor without any changes. He thought, it wasn't, even though it wasn't apples to apples. And I mean, back then I was complaining about the 35-foot height, and that's even before the floodplain line became involved.
Mhm.
I've advocated for a long, long time that we should have reduced the height on the waterfront side. And what they're proposing, ironically, is a 2-story and 2 3-story buildings on the waterfront side.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
you can go after them at the planning board.
yeah, I mean, but
Move along here.
you should look at it too from an open space perspective, because the good part of the project is that there is a lot of open space.
Yeah, the
proposed.
walk, so-called, is about,
Well, a walk, a park, and then, public park, and then private park. So, the buildings are shifted much more closer to the street, and leaving the harbor side, there's no structures right on top of the edge of the harbor. So, from an
Yeah.
open space perspective, I like what they've done, but, everything is trade-offs because we're also now going to have this massive building right at the sidewalk where today the hotel is set back from the sidewalk. So,
but, there's zoning to cover all of that.
well,
So
It's
I wish I
it's-
was
it's
on-
it's- it's
I wish I was
interesting.
on the planning board so I could get involved in it.
you should have.
You should.
I
Yeah.
almost wrote you in.
I don't think that would go well. Anyway, I talked to Chris about our tree policy that the Board of Selectmen were promising to do. It's still alive, but it's been sidelined, with the coronavirus and everything. It never has come up for a vote.
Okay.
I didn't get to talk to the Tree City USA people about whether we could proceed without having a proclamation from the Board of Selectmen to proclaim Arbor Day, to recognize Arbor Day. And we're way after the fact, so I still am going to call them. I just didn't get to it from the last meeting, so I will do that again. Call Tree City USA. So to see if we can apply, because if we don't have the 4 elements, we can't apply at the end, and it's the application goes in and they make their judgment in December sometime about whether we are approved or not. So if we can't do it this year, we'll have to, it'll fall into 2021. So I'll see if we can, slip in the back door somehow, get the Board of Selectmen to, if they'll allow it. I'm not optimistic that they'll allow it, but I'll try. They also want us to come and make a report to the Board of Selectmen and bring up all these issues, about this. Obviously, I have to make that phone call before I can do that. And I will lobby for the Board of Selectmen tree policy for the town's new policy at the same time. So I'll set up with Diane Kennedy for a time for us to make a presentation, such as it is. Okay.
Can I interrupt? I see an email from Sue that's her on the phone, but she can't be heard by us.
She's trying to connect by phone. Jenna, is there?
That's her number. That's her number. And she's, it's showing to me that she's muted. She just sent an email to us all that says that that's her, but she can't be heard by anyone.
Yeah, I can't do anything to it. It looks like she doesn't have.
Is that her?
Anyway,
Yeah, I can't get it to do anything on my end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a call from area code 236. Doesn't make
anyway,
sense.
I'm sorry I interrupted, but I just saw the email.
Yeah, all right. Well, if she doesn't have Zoom resident on her computer, she's trying to do it by phone. You can do it by phone,
By
but
phone.
she has to have the app loaded on her phone. There's a call in. You can get the visual on your phone as well as the audio. I don't know, Jen, if you got any help there?
No, I'm trying to. There's no settings on the side it's got to be on her end, unfortunately.
Yeah. So
Is this her number right here? The 617-77.
I assume so.
Yeah,
1-755-0822. Yeah, it's probably her cell phone.
Peter, can we go back to what you were saying, that you have to do a presentation before the selectmen, and you said regarding the town's new tree policy?
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, we asked the town, we were going to have a bylaw for the annual town meeting to codify public trees on public property and how they can be removed or
Oh, okay.
maintained, blah, blah, blah. The town decided that they didn't want to make it a bylaw, but they did want to, they supported it, but as a policy for, the DPW. So we went along with that, but it hasn't been put into place.
So how would they make it into a policy? Would it go into?
Well, they essentially adopted our language and, that even right down to fines and things like that. You're not allowed to take down a tree. You have to replace a tree. There's a bank, for money to, for the fines to go into if you take down a tree on public property and you're caught, you'll have to replace it and make, contribution to the bank. And the bank is there for replacement trees. So all the language, I forget exactly, but they adopted pretty much all the language.
And how come they didn't want a bylaw?
Well, because the bylaw is so rigid, you have to go to town meeting to get it changed. And we thought that having an ordinance was a reasonable compromise because we were getting all of the things that we were asking for the most part. Okay, and it would allow the town to change it by, a vote of the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. All right, thanks. Thank
Okay.
you.
So Sue says she can hear us. She's on her cell phone. She can hear us talking. We just can't hear her.
Okay. Well,
Actually, she's muted. Can you unmute?
yeah, I don't see how to, again, I'm not, I don't have the host. So,
All right. Well, she can hear what we're saying. So she's.
all right, well, she can email to, why don't you ask her to email to you and you can, if she has questions, you can bring up her questions, I guess.
Or also she can do the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. She can put comments into that. I think.
Excuse me. Hi, everybody. All of a sudden.
Hey, Sue. How are
Hi.
you?
I thank you so much. I just heard a sort of an automated voice say you are unmuted. I don't know why, but I am.
Okay, you're here. Well, welcome.
Thank
I
you so much.
understand-
And
I understand you've been listening.
I have been listening. Yes.
Okay. So we're going to move right along now. The next meeting is at least scheduled for August 11th, and I wanted to see if the committee would like to forego that meeting in the middle of August, because it's the middle of August and people are doing things. And so
Works for me.
what do you think?
Present
Too
Here.
many people are going on vacation this year.
Well, I just put it up there for a discussion. We can have the meeting, or we can skip it. We can still schedule a Board of Selectmen's time, and then pull something together with the meeting or without. But how do you feel? Anybody feel strongly should we skip it or just have it? We only meet once a month, so.
I'm okay with attending on August 11th. I assume it will be on Zoom, so
It'll be a Zoom meeting.
I can be present.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we were to do a selectman meeting, October might be better.
Oh, yeah, well, it depends what I hear from the Tree City people. If it's imminent that, they would let us apply this year, if the Board of Selectmen did a couple of things, like approve this policy and proclaim Arbor Day, make an Arbor Day proclamation, everything else we have. So we could apply, if they say, oh, well, yeah, because of the coronavirus, then we need to move it.
Okay.
Okay, then I can't wait till October.
Okay.
All right, so I got to see how that goes, and I'll let you know. All right, so there doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in forgetting about the August 11th. So I'll keep it, and we'll go with it. I talked to Chris about the trail signs. I finally got him. I had to send him the invoice twice. I finally got him in a conversation, and he agrees to have Michelle Leary set up the vendor. Okay, and it's not clear to me whether we just go to the. I think what we should do is just go to the vendor now. Because he said, yes, we have the money. The vendor just needs to be set up. And then, we'll take care of the invoice. Just, when we got to get the product, we have to see, receive it so we know everything's legal, blah, blah, blah. So, Tom.
I just so you know, I emailed him about it today because I had to email him about something else.
Okay. Well,
I just emphasized to him that I'd like to see this done this summer.
yeah, well, I'm
Kinda getting
about to
frustrated.
say, let's go. All right, let's just give him all of the signs, what the signs say. I assume you had a table, right? You had a worksheet. With
Yeah, I think Katie Holden gave him all of those. There's 84 signs for 2 parts.
Right. So can you find out, can you take that on just to find out, if you can actuate that, say go, and have them make the signs?
Yeah.
Because they'll, again, Chris said, we got the money. All I have to do is set them up. go make your signs.
Okay, good. I'll call the guy this week.
Yeah, if you could just take care of that, that would be great.
Okay.
We'll get that going. And I just, I hope, I assume the guy works with municipalities and understands the vagaries of getting paid from a municipality. You know, the payment will be guaranteed. It's just a matter of, it may be a pain, you know, maybe a pain in the butt. But we should go. All right, we should get
Okay,
that.
good.
Okay.
Good.
And the other things we may need, like backing, you know, this is fairly thin stuff, so, you know, we may need some thin plywood, whatever it is, you know, waterproof plywood, and
Yeah,
screws.
I actually was, cleaning up my office today and Katie got a sample of one. They're actually pretty sturdy.
So you don't think, well, whatever we
The real
need
issue
to,
is how are we going to, how are we going to put them into trees? I assume with
I mean, however we're going to affix it to the trees, Chris says, well, just go through the DPW and they'll either have whatever you want or get it for you.
Right.
So
Okay.
it'll be, you know, bronze screws or something. I'll have to research it and find out what's best for the tree. Okay.
Yep.
So, and the other thing we need to start talking to the Boy Scouts to help us to mount these. You know, have a Boy Scout party with them mounting them around
Yeah.
where we want them to go. So I'll help you with that.
Yeah, when we're ready and, set out just like a general invitation for volunteers to show up.
Yeah.
And we
Okay.
got, particularly we have to know where the boundaries, for the boundary signs, we need to absolutely know where the boundaries are.
Yeah.
Between
Okay.
the white barn and you.
Okay. I did talk to Lauren Lynn, our planning director, about the status of the open space and rec plan, version 2 with the correction, with the additional information. And she got back to me and said she talked to the state and they don't have a response yet. They don't, they're still working on it. So that's been, I don't know, 4 months. So
Yeah.
they're still working.
All state agencies are like that.
Yeah, they're all messed up. I talked to Chris about possibly restarting Earth Day, and this will be one of the things we would talk to the Board of Selectmen about. It's possible to do the Earth Day cleanup like late September, early October, something in there. Everybody would have to wear masks. We'd have to have gloves available so that everybody, and I've got 10 these extended grabbers, for wet areas and things like that. So that's probably the main point, other than the Tree City application, that we'd want to make with the Board of Selectmen. Of course, talk about, that we're putting the signs up in Wheelwright, and, the improvement we're making for Wheelwright. So there's three big presentation items that we'll work on. Okay. So I think I'll try to get on their calendar earlier rather than later, because if we're going to do late September or early October, we need a month at least to get the word out, to collect more money. We stopped the fundraising. We don't need a lot, but we did stop what we were doing. So we'd have to start that up again. So anyway, that's one of the items for the Board of Selectmen. And Sue, the graffiti issue.
Yep.
Where are we on the graffiti issue?
We're not anywhere new. I can just because it's nice to, I can touch base with the team, but we don't have anything to report.
Yeah, again, it's been a while, and correct, I'm not sure I have it right, but was Russ Spinetti, was his group going to provide the funding for the water graffiti that the water department didn't want to touch?
Yeah, they were very supportive.
Okay, so that's where the money was going to come from, right? To get the
Yes.
outside vendor to take care of the boulders in the water?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, which is just circle back and get a read on what might be able to happen, or see if you
Yep.
can, see if you can get the process warmed up again.
Yes, I'd be glad to.
Okay, great, thank you. Changing of the season message, we're there again, but Jenna, there's no, you guys aren't sending out are you sending out your periodic, your fall newsletter kind of thing?
You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if we're going to be able to run the programs that go into that, I mean,
Yeah,
well, obviously we can advertise on Facebook for,
Yeah.
Facebook and, do emails if we have to.
Yeah, well,
I just don't know yet.
I walk in the woods every day, and I can report that the multicolored mushrooms are appearing everywhere. There's orange ones and some blue ones, and there's brown ones, and there's cream colored ones. So the mushrooms are starting to come very prolific.
Jasmine Callahan had agreed to write up any sort of
Right.
blurb we wanted. She's very involved with Holly Hill, and she is doing.
Well, the question is, do we want to try and do this? We've been talking about it for 3 years. We haven't done it.
Yeah.
Do we want to try to, encourage that or anything?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to have. I just don't know what forum we could put it in. Do we want to wait until?
Well, we got to have the expertise to just talk about more than mushrooms, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think Jasmine has that, and she's willing to do that for us. I just
Okay.
don't know what forum we would put it in if there's no.
Okay, we can do it on Facebook and, like that, get the information out, public service, get us a little recognition, if.
Do we have a Facebook page, or would this be on the town Facebook page?
We would probably do it on 143, would be my guess.
So it
And
wouldn't-
we could do it on the recreation, right, Jen?
Yeah, if you had a document,
Because,
we could post or,
it's open space and recreation.
Could you
Yeah,
share it with the Mariner? Because they're always looking for copy. You're always looking for neat stories.
Yeah, we can give that a shot, but they haven't been really interested in doing public service.
Even with the new writer,
Possibly. I mean, I'm
submit it to him.
out of touch with them, so I don't know. I don't know how responsive they are these days.
I think you can write, you can put it on the 143, but you could also submit it to
Well, generally, we can get it.
the Rocks.
We can get it on the
The Rock magazine.
Yeah, on the Rocks.
yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
That may be worthwhile.
Everybody's looking for copy these days, or something happy to write about.
But I'll bet they're already out to September.
Yeah.
I'll bet they got the September issue, pretty well paginated right now.
Well, they may not, because August. He could not. He may have not gone to print yet, so you could maybe get a page in, or just like a little small paragraph.
Okay, so
I can wait for Jasmine and see if she's able to write something to say.
yeah, I was gonna say, could you talk to her and see if we can get something?
I could write to the Rocks guy, and I could write to the Mariner and ask if we could submit something.
Okay.
See if we can get it in a couple of places. And Jen, I assume it's okay to put it in the recreation.
Yeah, we'll post it. We'll do whatever. If you want me to put it on as a link on our website, we can do that too.
Okay, so we'll get it in a few places if we get something that's reasonable. I always think about the mushrooms and but there's the animals and the whatever's growing. invasive plants. There's a whole lot of things we can talk about. And
Yeah.
invasive plants, Lisa Good, had her
Weird,
wild
yeah.
Cohasset
You see
plucking.
Tristan?
Right. I spoke to Russ Bonetti a long time ago for the Cohasset Conservation Trust. I think I have his whole interview somewhere in my computer. I mean, I could dig up parts of it and pull it out.
Okay. So why don't you talk to Deidre and coordinate so we get
Okay.
one story. What was I going to say? Jumped right out of my head. Okay.
We were talking about invasive plants and the mushrooms.
Oh yeah. Lisa.
Request.
Lisa Goods.
Yeah, next year, I talked with her when she was doing that because she was having a little trouble getting the town to, do what they normally do. And I told her that we would sponsor it next time
Oh,
around.
that's cool.
Oh, for her wild Cohasset
um,
pulling.
and no, we would actually go in and fill out an event application with the town.
Oh,
So
okay.
that it's a sanctioned event and get the rules down about what we need from the town and, make sure they agree. So that she doesn't have to run around like a crazy person
Mhm.
trying to get it to work. So we're going to help Lisa next time.
That's great. Yeah, I
All
like
right.
that. That's so important.
Yeah. So that's, I'll just have to try to remember when we come around to the spring next time. Okay.
Yeah, we pulled a lot of garlic mustard with her.
All right.
That's right.
Yeah, I know you're a dedicated garlic mustard puller.
That and the knotweed make me crazy, but yeah.
I pull a bag full out of my yard every year.
Yeah, that was,
So you're gonna take care of that.
Yep.
Or you'll take the lead in the changing of the seasons.
Yep.
I did talk to Chris about the nursery swap with the Cohasset Land Trust folks. And what's in the wind right now is they're chasing a grant to build a public service building up on 3A. And if they get the money, if they get the grant to fund I assume most of the building or a substantial part of the building, I don't know whether it's 100% or whatever, then they'll start doing some engineering and talking with the conservation, with the Cohasset Land Trust people and, see if they can consummate this deal. So it's still alive. It's just, until they get a plan on how they're going to do it financially. And of course, the town is potentially going to be stressed financially for this continuing coronavirus response, especially the schools. They haven't really figured out what they're going to do, but whatever they're going to do is going to cost a lot of money in time and, extra space, changing the space and, online and make sure everybody's hooked up. I mean, it's potentially a lot of money. So I'm not sure there's big pools of money hanging around, but, we're in a fiscally pressured time. Let's put it that way.
That land swap came up at the master plan implementation committee last night.
Really?
Yeah, because, by the way, tonight at allegedly 8:05, the master plan implementation committee is doing a presentation to the selectmen. And then doing the same thing tomorrow night, 6:30 for the planning board. So if you can listen in, listen in. But one of the 5 areas of priority is redoing the Elm Street corridor, as they call it. So make a better connection between Village and Harbor. Elm Street is going to be opened up soon to replace the water line, so that's driving the
Yeah,
opportunity.
you're going to rip up the street. It's a good time to think about how you want to change it.
Yeah, and so so this came up in the context about whether the station would move, because obviously then it opens up a plot of land for some other use, and it would be important to know what that, it would be great to know sooner rather than later if that lot's going to open up.
Well, it sounds like they've got at least the beginnings of a
Yeah.
plan
Well,
to,
that's good, because I had to report that, we have it as a usual item in our agenda and we keep hearing nothing. Katie Dugan was aware that they did a feasibility study about response times, and so locating up there on 3A will be fine.
response times are bad.
Yeah.
Can't get to West Corner or out to Beechwood.
No, actually, they
Beechwood.
said all the response times on 3A would be fine. So they're
Up on 3A, they would be, yeah, but
Yeah.
right now, they're like 8 minutes, the national average is 4.
right.
So,
People thinking out loud that what might be the best solution, best alternative to the police and fire station is basically extending Elm Court and having more affordable housing.
yeah,
It would be a great location for, because.
yeah, it's right there, you might as
Yeah,
well make
it's
it the whole,
probably-
make it a compound, right?
Yeah, it's not feasible to have any kind of commercial use right in the smack in the middle of Elm Street, but another residential use would be probably the way to go. But
Yeah, well, none of us
that's
get,
why it came up, because Elm Street is going to be open, I guess it's on the calendar to be torn open next year for a new water main.
okay,
So
well,
with that comes opportunity.
okay, well, that's good information. Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, and the little piece of town open space that's at the intersection of Elm and Margin Street,
Mhm.
down in front of the hotel,
Mhm.
that's being discussed as well as part of the hotel project or as part of the Elm Street project.
Yeah, I'm sure they could engineer some parking, if it was, for harbor use, I'd be in favor.
Or shifting it so it abuts the hotel in this new project rather than being sitting out there as an island in the middle of.
That's what I mean, yeah, cut out, take the little turnaround out and, take that
Yeah,
space
sure.
and make it parking, so, yeah.
Okay.
It'd be great as long as
Or
it services,
keep it-
long
or
as
keep
it services the public's access to the harbor.
Yeah.
If it just is gonna be, extra parking for the condos.
Oh, no.
yeah.
The thought is to move the green space.
Yeah.
Physically move it, square off the intersection to make it safer.
Yeah,
Basically take.
I'd rather make it access to the harbor parking, personally. There is no access
No,
parking right now.
the proposal is preserving 17 spaces that supposedly exist on 17 public spaces. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any other business that they'd like to discuss,
I'm all set.
talk about? No?
So I get an hour for dinner before the next one.
I will therefore ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move.
To adjourn. Do I have a second?
I second that, Marianne Weatherall.
Yep. Okay, thank you all. Stay safe, and we'll get organized for August 11th, and I'll let you know whether Tree City USA